Hey everyone, we got a great episode for you today. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy. My name is Matt. I'm the founder of the Financial Foundation, and on this episode of Money Made Simple, we're going to talk about saving for an emergency. So let's just get into it a little bit. There's a lot of always talks about, hey, you need to have an emergency fund, you need to save for those unknown times. So we're going to dive in and kind of get some questions answered to help you get on that path. Now, everybody's savings goal and emergency fund is going to be different, and everybody's situation is going to be different. So, for some people, you're struggling paycheck to paycheck already, and you don't know how you're even going to get any extra money to put towards a saving or for an emergency fund. So, we're going to get into some questions, and I'm hopefully going to be able to unpack how you can get started and how you can accomplish saving at least $1,000 really quickly. Okay. Now, first of all, I apologize. My voice is a little hoarse. I'm a little bit under the weather, but I really wanted to make this episode. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And if you find any of this value or information valuable to you, please subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend in need, and let us know in the comments what you want to learn about next. All right. Okay, so let's get into it. So first, our first question is, what is an emergency fund and why do you need one? So no one likes when an emergency is happening, but an emergency fund is reserve cash, liquid reserve cash. What does that mean? It means you can get to it very fast, right? And it is for those unexpected emergencies. So whether it's your car has trouble, you lost your job, you had a health issue, these are just some examples of some types of emergencies where you would need to have cash on hand to help pay for these. Why do you need one of these? Is because if you have to go into debt and you have to use a high interest credit card to pay for these emergency fund or emergency expenses, that can really put a hinder on your savings, your debt repayments, or just your life in general. If you're already having an emergency and you have the cash to deal with it, your stress is going to go way down knowing that you can cover that without having to pull out a personal loan or use a high interest credit card. Okay. How much should I aim to save in my emergency fund? So this is a really great question. It's going to be different for everybody depending on your lifestyle. But a good rule of thumb is to, at minimum, have 30 days worth of expenses saved in an emergency fund. Of course, it's nice to see 3 to 6 months, depending on what type of job you have. If you have a side hustle where money's coming in, if you're more freelance or independent contractor where money may not come in as often or it's very irregular, then I would say to have a 6 to 9 month or 9 to 12 month emergency fund set aside. That way, while you're waiting for your next gig to happen, you can have money to get you by, right? So, question number three, is $1,000 enough to start? Yes, 100%. $1,000 is enough to start your emergency fund. That's a fantastic start. Most people don't have $1,000 in their bank account for emergencies. Or let's put this in, they don't have $1,000 in their savings account to pay for whether it's an emergency or food. So if you have $1,000 in an emergency fund, you're doing, just to start, you're doing great. Okay. What about 3 to 6 month worth of expenses. So that's a sweet spot. If you can save up 3 to 6 months worth of expenses for your savings, emergency fund savings, that's fantastic. You're well ahead of many, many other people if you can do that. And that's something to strive for and aim for, okay? That way, if you lose your job, you're not having to rush to find a job. You can support yourself for 3 to 6 months and get a job that you deserve, right? You don't just have to go and apply and take something just because. All right. So, next question we have, where should I keep my emergency savings? In cash, in a savings account, or something else? So, this is another fantastic question because a lot of people, a few years back, I would say to have some in cash, and I know a lot of old school people, they have a bunch of cash just lying around under the mattress or in a drawer somewhere. As we move more into this digital age of finance, I would say a savings account is just fine. And particularly a high interest savings account. So like I use SoFi, and I believe there's another one. Ally Bank does another great high interest account or high interest savings account. That way you can get that money fast. You're still earning interest on it, which is much higher than just keeping it at a normal bank like Chase or Bank of America. So I would personally keep it in a high interest savings account. How do I save for emergencies when I feel like I have no extra money? Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes here. So this is everybody's big thing. It's like you don't know how to get that extra $100, $20, whatever it is to put into a savings account, right? So I have a bunch of other videos about creating a budget, and this is why a budget is so important. If you're at this point where you don't have extra money to put towards a savings fund, then you need to go back and watch one of those videos. You need to have a budget. You need to know where your money is going so you can do one of two things. You need to look at your expenses. So you can either eliminate expenses, which is, in my opinion, the fastest way to find extra money, or you need to increase your income. So a lot of you are going to be like, oh, well, I already have a job and they're not going to give me a raise right now. No, they may not. So you need to figure out to get a side hustle where you can make extra money, get a second job, doctor up your resume and apply at a place that will pay you more. I mean, these are all different options, but definitely knowing where your money is going to be your biggest ally in finding that extra money. Okay. What are some small expenses I can cut to start saving faster? So again, we're going to go back to that budget. Everybody's expenses are going to be different. I would recommend looking at once that you partake in subscription services you may be paying for that you don't really use that often. People always underestimate about packing a lunch or making a lunch and how much that saves you. I mean, you can make a lunch for $3 or $4 in some cases, and instead of paying 15, 20 to go eat out. It just depends on your own circumstances and where you feel comfortable cutting. But I would definitely look at subscriptions. I would look at your eating out, dining out. If you go out and go to bars or love dining with friends or wanting to go to concerts, things like that, those are all luxuries that maybe for right now, while you're trying to find money to put into your emergency fund, that you cut back on. I'm not saying to cut back on it, but you everybody's different, right? So everybody will have a different circumstance of what things that they can cut. Should I use my emergency fund to pay off debt or vice versa? So, no, I don't think you should use your emergency fund to pay off debt. I think you should use your emergency fund for emergencies that come up unexpectedly. And once you get to a certain level with your emergency fund, instead of funding your emergency fund, you would go and pay off your debt. So if you, let's use an example, like if you have not gotten started and you have $0 in your emergency fund, I would save a minimum of $1,500 or 1 month's worth of your expenses just for emergencies, and then stop putting money into your emergency fund. And if you have your debts, then that money that you were funding your emergency fund with goes to pay down your debts. All right. Now, there's a whole bunch of other ways about debt repayments that we'll get into in another video, but use your emergency fund for emergencies and pay off debts once you get your emergency fund to a decent level. How do I stop digging into my savings for non-emergencies? So this is a huge thing that happens very often. And I mean, we go back to budgeting. Budgeting, knowing where your money is going to be your crystal ball to see where you have money leakage and what you need to uh, put a, how do you say it? Like seal that leak up, right? You need to know where your money's going so you just have eyes on it and you can say, okay, if I stop doing this, this is going to help me not have to dig into my savings, right? Okay. So what qualifies as a real emergency? A real emergency is an unexpected large expense, right? So you get a bill of some sort that you're just like, oh my God, that came out of nowhere and I need to get that paid right away. A car breakdown, a health emergency. Um, those are all quote unquote real emergencies, right? Uh, what else can qualify as a real emergency? Really, I would just say any unexpected large bill, those are things that I would use my emergency fund for, right? So if any of you guys love the love the content that you're getting right now, I would totally appreciate a follow, a subscribe, a like. Let me know in the comments. Again, I'm sorry I'm all stuffy. I'm a little under the weather, but I did want to make this. And we got a few more questions. How can I automate my savings so I don't have to think about it? This is fantastic. Everybody should be automating. It's so simple to do, and you can set it up either with your paycheck, or so when you get paid or direct deposit, you can have part of your check go to your checking account, other part go to a savings account, and or you can even do it on the bank level and say, hey, when I get paid, this percentage needs to go into my savings. Automation is so incredible. We're living in this whole automation AI world. Everybody should be doing it. It's use it on your bank level, use it on your paycheck level. It's super simple. What's the fastest way to save my first 500 or $1,000? So, step one, budget. Review your expenses. Cut any unnecessary expenses. If your number is 500 or $1,000, and I promise you, if you look through all your expenses, there are things that you can get rid of. You may not want to get rid of them, but you can get rid of them to help get you to that 500 or $1,000. And if you are short, then what I would recommend is look for ways to increase your income. Can you work some extra hours? Can you pick up a second job? Can you start a little side hustle a couple days a week? These are all things that you can do, especially now with like digital marketing and just selling digital products. I mean, you can start an Etsy store in your spare time. You can start a drop shipping Shopify store. You can sell a course. I mean, there's so many things that you can utilize that we're so lucky to have all this technology at our fingertips. So you can become a content creator. You can share a skill that you're passionate about, that, and people can watch and see you do it. So there's so many ways that that can all happen. How does having an emergency fund change your relationship with money? This is one of my absolute favorite questions. And so what I like to look at it is having an emergency fund is a safety net and it's like a cushion, right? So if you don't have that, your stress level is so high because you're waiting for that ball to drop. You're waiting for that major expense, that unexpected just ball just come down and be like, oh wow, I now owe a lot of money that I'd have nothing. I don't know how I'm going to get that money. Now I'm in debt. You feel bad about it. It's just hard to comprehend what to do next and super demotivating. So when you have that emergency fund and you've made these cuts, you've made these sacrifices, and you've been disciplined and really been focusing on growing it, um, one, you have an amazing sense of accomplishment, and two, you're prepared. You feel better about it because yeah, it still sucks to have to pay a large expense that you weren't expecting. But to have the money and to just be move on with it, to pay it and move on, that's so great. It's such a good feeling. And that's kind of what I want to, I hope everybody can get to that point. I remember when I was struggling with money, and I mean, every time I thought I was like, oh, cool, I got a couple $100, I got $500 saved, I'm on the right path. And next thing I got a $600 bill that I was like, I have to pay it. All my savings gone, everything. And it just felt like you couldn't catch up. And that's a terrible feeling. So eventually I had to really look at that budget, look at my own budget, and cut as many expenses as I could. I had to get a second job. I had to get a third job. And I was told myself, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make that happen. And so eventually you get to the point to where you have your expenses become way less than the income you have coming in. And so naturally more money is sticking into your account. So it does take time. I'm not saying it's easy. By no means is it easy. It takes amazing discipline to grow and start your emergency fund, but it does definitely change your relationship with money. One, you're happy to have it, and your stress, you're way chiller when you have the money to pay for an expense. So I want everybody to feel that feeling. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, follow, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Again, I apologize for the nasally-ness on this, but I really wanted to get this video out for everybody. So here's what I want to kind of leave you guys with. I do want to say my financial disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I'm merely using the tools and knowledge that I have learned over the years of my life, in particular the past 20 years of going from broke to not, and really trying to help you guys just live your best financial lives. So if you guys want to learn anything else, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll link a couple other videos to help you get started. All right. Have a great day, guys. See you on the next one.